Welcome to Giants Nation. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, the Football Grump, and it's a Week 3 preview. Kansas City Chiefs at New York Giants on Sunday Night Football, the Giants' home opener. The Chiefs won 20-17 on Monday Night Football against the Giants in 2021 in their last matchup. That game is, for some reason, etched in my head. The Giants won 12-6 in 2017, Alex Smith's final year for the Chiefs, and the Giants are 7-0 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Something about just the Chiefs red jerseys versus the Giants blue jerseys, it it just feels like a special game. I don't know if I'm just saying that, but I love the Giants Chiefs matchup for some reason.
Was that the Roger Lewis game?
It was the Roger Lewis game, the slide and catch.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was great. So, yeah, I'm excited for the home opener at MetLife. I'm heading up to New Jersey this weekend to go to MetLife and take in the September football weather, crush some beers in the parking lot with other Giants fans, just soak in the whole football atmosphere. So I'm excited for this matchup.
You got boots on the ground. I love it. And I'm excited for you to be there because it's Sunday Night Football. Before we get into this full preview, with this episode is brought to you by some special. We got Mike Z Money. What a name. Joe Myers, not Michael Myers. If you guys switch their names, it'd be Joe Z Money and Mike Myers. Jason Solo, Mr. Solo Dolo, Shanor, not Shador, Shanor. Dice. Is that Dice K? Connor with no last name. I'm gonna get this 100% right. Jiaoning Lee. Francisqua. It's like Francisqua, like Aqua. Thomas Shelby, he drives a Shelby, and then Michael Ali is actually Muhammad's younger brother. Grump, who are these former boxers brothers?
These former boxers' brothers are people who went to patreon.com/Giants Nation, where they signed up for one of two tiers and got things such as stickers in the mail from you, Bobby Skinner. They've also got backstage access to watch these episodes live on Patreon. They also get entered into a monthly free t-shirt raffle, and they get access to exclusive weekly videos of film breakdowns that you do as well.
Game recap is actually live on Patreon this week because it's a nighttime game. Let's get into this preview. Both these teams being 0-2 is somewhat of a storyline in it too, but I do want to start with the Giants offense versus the Chiefs defense, and we're facing a very familiar foe in Steve Spagnuolo. But with the Chiefs defense, there's a lot of schematic things I like when I watch them. And then you get reminded of what it's like to have an advantage as a DC. But it really starts with Chris Jones and all of this, right? Like that's as much as we're talking about the Chiefs blitzes and all that stuff. That's the guy who makes, I think, this the toughest matchup that it can be because he has the ability to destroy the Giants in the passing game and the run game. Like Justin Herbert and the Eagles, were able to do some things. The Eagles offense didn't even look that good, but like Chris Jones can dominate. And he is worry number one, I think, for the New York Giants because the interior of the offensive line has been bad for the Giants. Pass protection, they haven't been terrible. They're in the right places and stuff, but they also they just haven't been able to run the ball. And then Chris Jones can just be that game wrecker.
Yeah, what's interesting is Chris Jones is definitely priority number one, especially since the Giants are pretty weak on the interior. But last week against the Cowboys, Kenny Clark did not really wreck the game, but there was one play, I believe he just took John Runyon for a walk in the park right into Russell Wilson's lap. But everything stems off of Chris Jones to start, because we talked on the mailbag episode. We ranked our favorite Giants coordinator since we started doing content. And this is Steve Spagnuolo, like, at his best. This is a super disciplined defense that comes at you a variety of different ways. There is like an endless play sheet at his disposal to come at you and really dictate how you get to do things. You don't really get to just set up like we did against Matt Eberflus and just throw the ball down the field and sit back in the pocket and throw it. Like, there is going to have to be a lot of adjustments made, and there better have been a ton of prep work done in the film room this week.
Yeah, so let's talk about like how Spags is running this defense. They blitz, right? They have the number one blitz rate in the NFL, and they change them up. But this isn't like a Brian Flores, Wink Martindale type of blitz team where it's like, all right, we're going to line everybody up on the line. We're not going to let you know who's coming and who's going, but we're coming at you. Like there's nothing standard, right? There's not their favorite type of look they get into in blitzes. But the one thing they do like to do is send six, right? So it's not sometimes blitz rate is does not tell the whole story, because sometimes like some of these websites, they if you, like, drop a defensive end and send a linebacker, they count that as a blitz because it's not the front four there. That's not really a true blitz to me, right? I'm talking about, like, sending 5, but the Chiefs like to send 6, which again is that's a much different blitz than a five-man rush playing basic man coverage on the back end, where they will give you looks of, "Hey, look, we got the blitz coming," right? One of the biggest giveaways for a blitz for a quarterback is there is a safety lined up on top of the nickel corner, right? Usually about 8 yards of depth. And the Chiefs will show that and they will send that nickel corner, but they'll also send the nickel corner or the weak side linebacker who's lined up on the tight end from the backside or send a linebacker through the A gap and try and get 2-for-1s. Or they'll know like they will line up in just like a regular base nickel defense where you have an over front with two linebackers, nothing crazy, and then they'll just send six, right? They'll send both the linebackers, and their linebackers are good blitzers with Drew Tranquil, Nick Bolton, and Leo Chanel. Um, and they know you're going to set your protection to Chris Jones. So you've got like, and again, they're going to get into some of these cover zero looks too. And they like to send six. So you've got to be ready for that, right? And that means getting to the ball out on time, quick, and being decisive, right? You don't have time to sit there and read. You will take sacks and have, a lot of negative plays, which again is a worry with Russell Wilson as the quarterback because he's struggled versus that this year. The Cowboys lined up in one cover zero look, and Russ just didn't get the ball out when he should have. So you have to be decisive, whether that is getting the ball to your outside guys in one-on-ones, whether that's on a 8-yard hitch or, a fade, or your slot receiving your tight ends on quick outs. Like you just got to you have to be decisive in what you're doing, which is dangerous because if you're decisive and you make a mistake, that could lead to an interception. But you're definitely going to lose if you're just taking sacks against these looks.
Yeah, and so here's the thing about bringing 6 guys. Number 1 is that it puts a hat on a hat for your offensive line and your running back. That forces you to have either 7 guys in protection or everyone to one-on-one. So what does that mean? It means Chris Jones is one-on-one against somebody. And I think it doesn't really matter which person it is on the interior, it's gonna be bad for the Giants. The other thing it means and this kind of goes into the disguised look portion, like you're saying, like they like to show 2 guys on the right, but then they'll bring 2 guys from the left and drop the 2 guys on the right, or they'll show the nickel corner, but the weak side linebacker will come too. They will like to bring things from spots where you're not looking for it because you're so concentrated somewhere else. What does that mean? It means everyone has to be able to communicate to each other at the line. They have to be able to read it, understand where the pressure's coming from, which is already hurdle number 1. They have to communicate it, make sure that all guys in protection understand, including the receivers too. Everyone has to know who's coming and what to do with this blitz. The receiver who's got the hot has to understand he has the hot. You know, it requires all 11 guys to make an adjustment at the line of scrimmage. You can't just call the play in the huddle, go up there and run it. And that's what makes this defense so difficult. You have to be ready to adjust at the line of scrimmage, and they're not going to get it 100% right every single time. So there's going to be negative plays in this, which means they have to hit big on the positive plays, right? So sending 6 often also means that you have one-on-one for your receivers. So understanding where those one-on-ones are, you have to give those receivers a shot. The Giants have good route runners in Darius Slayton, Malik Neighbors, and Wandale Robinson. These guys can win on the route, and not only that, they can get yards after the catch. They can make guys miss. Wandale and Malik, I would say in particular. Darius Slayton probably is just really outrunning or breaking a tackle at best. Theo Johnson is another guy who's going to have to be able to break a tackle because these guys are going to be one-on-one, and you break that tackle, and now you have a huge positive chunk play.
Yeah, and that's why like I think this game, it's important for Russ to know where to get the ball and stuff, but like this is a game where receivers need to take over. Malik Neighbors specifically, right? You're the star receiver. Take advantage of a defense that gets attacked, and that means when the ball's in your hand, be a yak threat, right? Like take a play that usually would be 8 yards and turn it into 40 something yards. And Wandale Robinson to an extent too, and Slayton when he gets a step. But part of the when you're facing these blitzes is like, and this is probably like my only critique with Malik Neighbors as a player still, is declare. Declare. Okay. You don't have all day to set up this route and take a long time to get off the line of scrimmage because you're setting up this corner. You got to declare quickly. I remember even Daniel Jones's interception against the Panthers last year, where they sent a cover zero blitz and like, oh, why didn't they throw the ball to Neighbors on a slant? And it's like, well, because Neighbors didn't declare. Neighbors took way too long to get into that break, and he checks it down to the running back, misses the throw, and ends up being intercepted. You have to get off the ball quickly and understand like that the ball's coming out hot. And especially with a quarterback like Russell Wilson, he's going to need you to show him, and he's not going to throw that ball if you don't show him that you're going to be available and have your eyes around on it. So it's just things like that. But overall, like they obviously don't blitz every single play. Like coverage wise, they like to use 3 safety sets with, Cook, and Shamari Connor, as, like, their full-time safeties. Connor plays more as, like, a nickel corner slash box safety. I think he's very vulnerable, and they use Jaden Hicks as their 3rd safety, and he plays mostly deep. I think their safeties are vulnerable. One, they just they don't they don't make a ton of plays, but they just don't give them much edge in coverage, and there's 2 things. One, they are overly aggressive in run action. Now, that could be a product of playing the Chargers and the Eagles week 1, right? And we'll talk about when we get to the Giants defense, where it's very it's hard to judge because they're gonna play a very different style than the other 2 teams. But their safeties will play off, and they leave the second level open, and on the sideline as well too, not just over the middle of the field, and that leaves you where, like, you can run these 3-level concepts where because their outside corner a lot of times is gonna carry the vertical, right? Where, a lot of corners like to play both, right? They wanna carry the vertical, but pass it off and take a corner and out route away. They, like, kinda declare, and that's where you can have opportunities for chunk plays. I don't think it's gonna be these big play throws over the top. I think it's gonna be in that 15 to 25-yard range towards the sidelines and a little bit in the middle field, but I'm not expecting Russ to do a ton of that, but you gotta be able to read what they're doing because they don't run they change up their coverages. They don't give you these pre-snap indicators of what they're doing. But the Giants can win on the outside.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying about the safeties being vulnerable, but these guys aren't, like, vulnerable in the way that they're busts in coverage or anything
It's
like
not like
that.
when they had Reed Sorensen back there a few years ago.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, but really what it comes down to is Russ just taking a chance on his guys because they'll be in good position. It's just a matter of them making a play on the ball or, giving them an advantage in the coverage, you know, in the realm of coverage. Uh, they'll be sort of in good position. You just have to like give your receiver a chance, make him make a play on the ball. Um, I think also working in the Giants' favor is Christian Fulton. It looks questionable. Their backup corner. He does see quite a bit of action
Yeah, he didn't
and,
practice on Wednesday or Thursday.
yeah, so, like, Spags is gonna be rotating defensive backs in and out of the game, so that's one less guy that's, a veteran in this league, been around a while, but and they're otherwise hurt. They have 2 other guys on IR that are in the defensive backfield, so, there is advantages here, but it's gonna come down to Russ actually making those throws
Yeah.
and trusting stuff. Like, you have a one-on-one with Malik Neighbors, and anybody, throw it to Malik Neighbors. Like, l l let him be Malik Neighbors. You don't have to be everything Russell Wilson. Like,
Yeah.
and we've seen some positive in that last week in just kind of throwing it up for grabs. It's not quite the same, but it's the same mentality. Hopefully, Russ has that confidence in him. I also think that another thing that can really shine in this game that we haven't quite seen yet is, you know, typically whenever you're going up against the blitz, the screen game is something that works to your
Yes.
favor. This could be a chance for Cam Scadaboo to really have his angry run, national outbreak. He's been on the angry runs, whatever the hell that is, angry run award, and he's got a couple of highlights, but he hasn't really built up any sort of significant stat yardage or anything like that. Um, this could be the game where that is a significant advantage because most anybody who's not a linebacker or a defensive lineman, he's definitely trucking through, and you have that possibility in this game.
Absolutely, and especially when you think of, with them having Chris Jones and the Giants' rush offense is unfortunately in a spot where we can't talk about going into a game about, like, establishing it, using it all, using the run and doing this. Like they're really bad until they prove they're good and cannot have multiple mess ups on every play. It's hard to talk about it. Let's before we talk about the Giants defense versus Patrick Mahomes and their offense. It does seem like Andrew Thomas is back, which I don't think changes a ton with this individual game plan, but it does give you an edge where, if Marcus Bowe was out there after his, good performance against the Cowboys, I was worried though. George Karlaftis is a power rusher, right? The Chiefs like to, rush with power. Um, and at least you kind of know that Thomas, he's coming back from injury, so it may not be 100%. Not talking about like health wise, but just play wise. He hasn't had a lot of action, but I don't have any worry of having a vulnerable matchup where Bo versus some of their power rushers. I'm like, all right, this is a this is a good litmus test for you, Marcus Bo.
Yeah, I don't know, Bobby. This one does make me a little nervous. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd rather have Andrew Thomas out there if all things are equal in terms of health. Um, it's not even a conversation. It's not even a debate. But at the same time, if I understand this right, Andrew Thomas has not done a padded practice this week. Everything has just been in uppers.
Well, no, he
Um,
there was a padded practice on Wednesday, but he was limited, so he technically hasn't had a full participant
okay.
thing. But they said he got a lot of the reps. So I mean, he's had a fully padded practice.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel a little bit nervous about his first game back in general. So much of this game, like we said at the top of this, is going to be reliant on communication between the offensive linemen, the quarterback, the receivers. Everybody has to be on the same page, and this is a guy who's a pro's pro. He's a veteran. He is the best player on this offensive line, and it's not really close. Um, but at the same time, he's gotta be at least a little bit rusty. And he's gonna have to play, what, 60 minutes it's a huge endeavor, and there's gonna be a lot riding on his shoulders. So I just feel a little shaky about it.
Here's what I'll say, and I hate this have this attitude in week 3, but the Giants are 0-2. I am so much more invested in him being fully healthy than how good he's gonna be in his first game back.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah,
Like, I'm just
no.
like, yeah, if he gives up a sack and a quarterback hit and he doesn't look like his I'm like, "Okay, Russ, I just hope you came out feeling healthy afterwards and didn't feel like you were," like, that's really again, as a guy who has a lot of money invested in him, a lot of time left on his contract, a young player, somebody I want to keep around. I'm not as so incensed in this one game than I am just his long-term health, because if he gets another serious injury or re-injures that foot, then that's when you start really talking about his future. So I'm way more invested in that when it comes to Thomas than if he gives up a sack versus George Karlaftis or misses an assignment against their Chiefs heavy blitz rate.
No, 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 but with this kind of confusion coming at them and guys coming from all angles and needing to be on the same communication, I think that's where accidents happen and guys step on each other's feet and stupid shit like that. So, I mean, that's my worry actually is that this is a significant stress test for him coming off of injury and being rusty in general. Like I think it is a perfect storm for him possibly getting re-injured. I'm not suggesting that Marcus Bowe or James Hudson is a better option at this point, but it just sucks that this is the first day that he's going to be back. That's all I'm really saying.
Yeah, just be careful. Let's talk about the Chiefs offense versus the Giants defense and Patrick Mahomes. Like they have not been an explosive passing attack at all. Um, but the Chiefs offense, it's like it's not a great offense right now, but it's also not a bad offense, and they're probably returning Xavier Worthy this week. And I understand why Bills fans and Ravens fans and Eagles fans be licking their chops like, "Ooh, they're not as good." But as from the New York Giants point of view, this is still an offense that, like, Patrick Mahomes is getting the ball out extremely quickly or scrambling, right? He has the quickest time to throw in the NFL at 2.47 seconds. He also has the most quarterback rushing yards at 130. That's on pace for over 1,000 rushing yards from Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's part of the reason why guys like Lamar and Josh Allen have been able to remain explosive, even though defenses have totally changed the way they play them, is because the legs. And I think Patrick Mahomes will not be in the rusher those two guys are, is going to lean into that. especially when he doesn't have the receiving threats. Um, the other thing though is they've played teams that are one a better defense than the Giants, but the other teams have played 80% zone coverage, and the Giants play mostly man outside of the end of halves and of regulation periods. Uh, but again, they're not explosive, right? They've been bottom of the league and, bottom half since 2022 and average depth of target. Last year, Patrick Mahomes was 30th in deep completions. Then we had all the quarterback injuries that happened, and he was 30th in deep completions. Bottom five in attempt rate. Xavier Worthy can change that a little bit, and they like to dial up some for Tyquan Thornton. But really, it's Mahomes takes what you give him. They like to run a lot of quick game, and like to run a lot of the stick concept. They run the stick concept so much to where it's almost predictable. And like, I want people to watch for this in the game. Then they run stick, which again is like a 5 yard stick route, basically a hitch, and then a flat. That's a stick concept. They run it two ways essentially. They run it like the Giants did in 2022 with Saquon Barkley, where they have the running back go into the flat instead of a tight end, and they'll have Xavier Worthy or whatever receiver run, that 5 yard stick, or they will motion another receiver from the opposite side and have him become the flat in the back side. To where if I'm a Giants defensive line coach, Andre Patterson, anytime I see a receiver motion from one side and they snap the ball while he's motioning, running into the flats, I'm like, get your hands up. Like, don't stress about the rush. The ball is coming out quick. Get your hands up because they run a lot of that. And for the linebackers, like, find an advantage and look to get, make a play on those sixes. They throw that a lot, right? To Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown. Like Hollywood Brown's this fast year is averaging 8 yards per catch because they're taking what they give him.
This is a perfect storm of things the Giants are not really great at. So I understand that the Chiefs are not as explosive as we're used to talking about, but A, they haven't had Xavier Worthy yet this year, really. Got cold cocked by his own friendly fire from Travis Kelce and hasn't played since. Looks like he's back this week. He is the deep threat, speed guy that they didn't have. They sort of have with Tyquan Thornton, but he hasn't really been, he hasn't been Xavier Worthy. He hasn't been productive in that manner. There's a lot of problems here. And number one is none of these receivers are like super world class, I guess, but there are a lot of them that are a problem. You know what I mean? You can jump through with, you know, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Tyquan Thornton, and then you have Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield, and of course you have Travis Kelce as well. Um, that is a lot of, and Juju Smith-Schuster. We didn't even mention him either. So that's more wide receivers capable than we have DBs right now. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is Giants depleted at linebacker is going to be a problem for Travis Kelce. Even if we had a really solid group of linebackers, Travis Kelce is somebody you have to worry about. Isaiah Pacheco is something out of the backfield as well. And then to make matters worse, Patrick Mahomes is a sneaky good runner. I say sneaky good, like it's like that's definitely the wrong term. He's a good runner, but he's also sneaky about it. So if nothing's open, he is mobile enough to get outside of the pocket, keep the play going. He likes to run. Everybody knows it. They like to run concepts where Patrick rolls out of the pocket and gets defenders crashing down to stop him from getting a huge gain. And guys will just slip behind him and he'll throw the ball. And sometimes it's on script, sometimes it's off script. He's an incredibly hard quarterback to defend without being over aggressive. And not only that, this is one of the things that actually pisses me off about Patrick Mahomes in general. Other quarterbacks do this, but I think he's probably the main premier culprit of this, and that's taking advantage of quarterback protection rules along the sideline. Dude, so if
He's been trucking guys this year. He's trucked 2 guys in the first 2 games of the year.
then put him on his ass. If there's 2 things the Giants have to do on defense, it's number 1, hit receivers at the line of scrimmage. Patrick Mahomes is getting the ball out fast, disrupt the timing, disrupt the route. Get guys off of the route. Don't give anyone clean releases. Hit people. Like you said with the stick concept, some receiver coming across in motion, hit his ass in the backfield. Don't get him into the flat clean. And it's not an easy thing to do, but hit guys where you're allowed to hit them. And Patrick Mahomes, this is going to be a controversial take of mine. I don't give a shit. Take the penalty. Don't let him think twice. Don't ever let him just think that he owns the middle of the field and that he can act like he's about to slide and then stay up and run for another 20 yards. Hit him on his ass when he's down on the ground, hit him a fucking again. Don't let him just take advantage of the rules. If you have to take 1 or 2 flags for it, then do it, but do it early in the game. Don't let him get confident about running in this game.
If he's scrambling, hit him. Because here's the thing is, well, again, I mentioned the top. He's number 1 in QB rushing yards this year, and by a wide margin too. Um, there's a couple things. One, the Giants have to get rid of that 2-man that they like to run with 2 deep safeties and then man covers. That leaves the middle of the field open. They did it a lot versus Dak. I understand why they did it versus Dak. Mahomes is gonna take advantage of that every time you run it, and they like to do it on 3rd down. Um, they'll also run, and I'm almost convinced because I'm, like, watching these concepts, I was like, "Andy Reid's a smart guy. This is not gonna open up." They'll have 2 deep clear outs and have, like, a 20 to 25-yard dig, and I was like, "That's what is that's nobody's getting beat on that." And then they'll have, like, the tight end and the running back block and release into the flats, but you know exactly what that does? It leaves the middle of the field wide open for Patrick Mahomes. Like, there was so many times where I'm like, because when I'm watching film, for, like, game prep, I'm watching the route combination, and then it's like, "Alright, what did the quarterback do on this?" And it's just like, I'm like, "What is going on? These guys are so far down the field," and then Patrick Mahomes takes off and run. So, like, that's gotta be in your mind. Like, if Patrick Mahomes isn't getting the ball off out quick, you have to think that he's gonna look to run the ball, and that goes for the defensive lineman. If there is any underneath defenders, you have to be looking for that type of crap. Now, the Giants like to run a lot of cover one. That helps, where the Eagles and Chargers don't, right? Well, so you'll have that linebacker in the middle of the field a lot of the times. So, that could change for them. And again, they haven't faced a lot of man coverage, so it's hard to say. They want to put your guys in conflict and stuff and man. But as the rest of their passing game goes, Travis Kelce, he's obviously not dynamic like he once was, but he is savvy and smart. So he's going to know how to win and make some plays in man coverage. But the one thing that him and Patrick Mahomes have is these guys are just, it's like telepathic how they can get on the same page where they just break off routes, right? Where Travis Kelce will break off a route because he sees the zone coverage is beating whatever route that he's going to run, and he'll just stop and turn around. And Mahomes will have the ball out already. Like, these guys are, it's a special thing to see, and they've been doing it for a long time. One of my favorite things I ever saw on Twitter was Robert Smith's and then Ron Kupp. Ron Kupp covered the Chiefs, and Robert Smith's covered the Bears, and they posted this all 22 clip at the same time where Robert's like, "I'm not exactly sure what happened here. It looks like it's a smash concept, but Travis Kelce stops his route." And then Ron Kupp is like, "Yep." He posted the same. He's like, Chiefs were running smash, but because of the Bears coverage, he stops him home. Like, they are, it's almost telepathic how much they are on the same page.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's super difficult here because everything in your instinct when you have things fully covered and you have an offense that's sort of scrambling to not literally scrambling, but just like now they're moving off of the read, it's so easy to get aggressive and just, run downhill and try and hit somebody or whatever. And their ability to improvise off the cuff and, have ESP with each other and exactly what they want from each other. Um, it's in some regards unguardable, and the best thing you can do is throw off the timing so that, whatever throw is not super accurate. Um, and I think the other thing that's gonna be really difficult in general is just running man concepts, so that everybody's back is to the line of scrimmage, because even if he's not looking to run, Patrick Mahomes is gonna see that and just run. If everybody's back is to him, he's just gonna take off.
Yeah, and again, I think that's why having the linebacker underneath, because again, it's not Lamar or Jaden Daniels where you're like, "Oh, he's gonna destroy your angles." We're like, in reality, Bobby Okereke should be able to win that open field matchup with Patrick Mahomes. But, you know, again, we're gonna be talking about, like, the pass rush a lot in this game. I think Dexter is the key. It's not the edge guys because, like I said, Patrick Mahomes gets the ball out quick, number 1, and if you're working around the corners, he's gonna rush up the middle, and that's where I think Dex is so huge because he can disrupt the timing of that quick game, by, driving offensive line and back in the Mahomes' lap and make it harder for him to scramble, and just he can win that matchup, big time. We haven't seen him play. We haven't seen Dex play against Patrick Mahomes since Dex has become Dex. And I know people are disappointed with his first 2 games. I am a little bit, but when you watch the film, he's been the Giants' best player on defense through 2 games. It's just he gets double teamed so often that he hasn't gotten the production that we've become accustomed to when he gets double teamed. Um, on the back end, like the corners should have matchups, like their best receiver right now is Hollywood Brown. We should have the corner one matchup over that. You know, Xavier Worthy's fast, but again, he's not a nuanced player. So they should have a secondary matchup. As far as their run game, there's not a much. The one thing again, their running game sucks. 29 carries for 96 yards for their backs. They're not putting as much emphasis in it. And something I noticed too is they like to just run out of like a 5 offensive lineman sets with no tight end or anybody attached. Right. So they'll get, a 5 versus 5 or a 5 versus 6 matchup. They like to run out of that a lot, and they haven't had much success. But this is a matchup of stoppable force versus movable object. So let's see. Let's see who comes out top in the Chiefs' run game versus the Giants' run defense.
Only other thing I'll add is Jawan Taylor is questionable. Their right tackle is a little banged up. I think at one point during the Eagles game, left tackle Josh Simmons stepped out for a little bit. So
He's a full participant in practice, and then
yeah, but I mean, even so, if you're still a little banged up, there's still a chance for a mid game knockout or something like that. So if you can get an advantage on the edge as well, that will certainly help because, like you said, Dexter Lawrence is the key. Putting pressure right into the lap of Patrick Mahomes is going to be, absolutely crucial. But if you can add in like a pincer element there from the edge, then that just, you know, further envelops him in the pocket, keeps him stuck there. And, you know, the more sacks, the better. Other thing to note is I thought it was interesting how much Vic Fangio decided to blitz the Chiefs and to how much effect it had. Now,
yeah.
again, Philadelphia is a much more stacked defensive roster uh, on top of everything else. But um, I guess I shouldn't expect Shane Bowen to throw any blitzes this way.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be throwing some crazy like it's very basic blitzes where it's like, send a DB off the edge, defensive end goes to the B gap, or just Abdul Carter off stack. Um, let's get ready to bring on Danny King. But first, this episode was brought to you by Body Armor. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor. Rewrite your routine and choose better with Body Armor. Body Armor is real hydration with electrolytes, coconut water, and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners. With great tasting flavors like strawberry banana and orange mango. Body Armor will level up your hydration game. Grab Body Armor Sports Drink today at your local grocery store. Body Armor. Choose better. Be glad you did. If you see Grump on Sunday, you better have a Body Armor in your hand. If you come and say hi, Grump, I'm excited for you. It's your first game as the Janice Nation show host. So go say hello to Grump and make him feel like a celebrity.
I should wear a cape.
I thought you already did. All right, let's bring on Danny King. You'll be glad you did. All right, we now welcome on young Danny King for weather and trivia. What's the weather looking like for the MetLife home opener on Sunday Night Football, Danny?
Well, it's a home opener, so of course the weather's going to be nice. I'm lying. There's a chance for some rain.
Oh my God!
There will be a passing shower. There will be. I hate to admit it. There's going to be a passing shower throughout the game. Like I don't want to say like it's going to clear up by like the end of the game because it's not. So I mean, there's a chance of rain throughout the entirety of the game.
Chance of rain or rain? Every year we do this shit.
Well,
is it going to rain or not?
Well, here's what your definition of rain is. Like, can I say a
What
passing
water
shower?
from the sky?
Does a passing shower count? Am I allowed to say a passing shower?
How long is the shower passing? Is it 20 minutes? Is that an hour?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying we're looking at like week 1, 2023, where it just downpoured on people for like 4 hours straight. Like it'll be like 5 minutes max type showers.
5 minutes max.
Type showers, but I'm not saying there's only one. There's multiple rounds of passing showers.
So are you trying to say it's going to be on and off raining throughout the entire game? Is the words you're looking for?
It is on and off allowed, Dictator Skinner?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, on and off,
and
that is
rain.
fine. That'll go on and off rain. It's on and off rain.
Grump's gonna
That's
be
what
there.
it is. Oh, but what temperature? It's gonna be like mid-60s. It'll go down to the low 60s by the time the game is over.
Why the fuck am I going into this game?
Grump, we need you because you got a good aesthetic. Now, like the game, anytime something bad happens for the Giants, we need like the most dramatic response of you, so that you get a chance of being on TV, being like, "What are they doing?" And
Yeah,
and
like hang over the rail and just like do whatever it takes.
uh,
You're playing with fire with that one because I'm gonna take it too far. I know it.
hashtag get Grump on TV. What's your section? There's probably some TV people that listen to this show.
124.
124. All right. Hashtag get Grump on TV. I can't wait.
Oh, you're in prime range to get on TV.
All right, Danny, what do we got for trivia this week?
So I learned this week the Kansas City Chiefs have never won at MetLife. I have never beaten the Giants at home. Never beaten the Giants at home. They're 0-7. 0-7. Can you name the other or others, plural, teams that have not beaten the Giants at home? So whatever their stadium history the Giants have played in.
Ooh, have not beaten the Giants at home.
I'm saying there could be one, there could be multiple.
Those are the options.
You know what? I'm going to say one's the Baltimore Ravens because
That's what I was gonna say.
they're a newer team. We've beaten them the last couple matchups, but was that game at home last year or was that in Baltimore?
That should have been in Baltimore because the year before, or whatever, the time before was at MetLife, and then the Odell Beckham
But
game.
that doesn't
also-
matter. That's
Oh, is that?
because it's last year was like the fifth AFC game. So it doesn't matter if you played them home or away the most recent. So I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens, and Danny made it seem multiple. So I'm going.
I want to say the Chargers.
The Chargers have been around for a while, and I feel like they had our number. I know the Jags beat us, so I'll say the Texans. I'm gonna go Ravens and Texans.
Oh, smart. Yeah, I'll stick with my two.
The Ravens are incorrect.
Great.
They have beaten the Giants at home.
Was it last year? Was that a home?
It was last year.
Fucking damn it.
But I must tip my cap. It was a great pull on the Texans. That is the other team, and that is the only other team that has not won a game at home when the Giants are the home team. But obviously they're a newer team. But the only other team that was close, if I remember, it was the Dolphins. There might have been one more for my research, but the Dolphins haven't had the best. They've beaten the Giants. The most recent time they've beaten the Giants at home was 2003.
2003. Okay. All right, we beat their ass in London. All right, let's get into the fantasy draft. Danny will be picking first. He's in last place. Despite having a nice scoring outing last week, 49.5 points. He's 55 points behind the lead. Grump with a 66-point outing, which, was a very good score. In fact, it would have been the highest scoring game last season for us. He's in second, 42 points back because I had 79.5 points. Who would have thought that a game that had 77 total points would have led to some fantasy points? So I have a 42-point lead over Grump. Danny, I'm going to give you a quick trivia. My scoring output was the second highest scoring game ever in our history of doing fantasy since 2020. Do you remember when I also had the highest scoring individual game? Can't get it off rip. I'll give you a hint.
I'm gonna pull up the 2020 schedule first so I could see how they did that year. Was it? Can I ask for a hint?
It was 2021.
Oh, it's 2021. Can I still ask for a hint?
No, it's 2021. We were the dead last in scoring that year. You got very limited outlet.
But I was gonna ask if it's pre or post buy. That was my hope. Jeez Louise.
I think we scored 20 points total post buy that year. So,
that's 21 was the max. I'm gonna say, let's go Was it also against the Cowboys?
It was. It was the Kadarius Toney game.
You lie, it was Tony's game. That's
I
insane.
I had Ezekiel Elliott, Kadarius Toney, Amari Cooper, and Tony Pollard. By the way, Todd, spy week, the Giants had a total of 17,
I'm looking at their rushing stats.
20, 20 26, 47, 53, 63, 66. They had 73 points in 8 games, so less than 10 points per game post-bye that year.
By the way, before I pick, do we do the Bills?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that the game just kicked off. So because it's Thursday Night Football, Dolphins at Bills minus 12.5. I'm going Bills. It's a big spread, but it just feels like the Dolphins may blow this up after this game. I got Bills minus 12.5. The listeners agree as well. Grump, what do you got?
I got the Bills as well. Circle the wagons.
Danny.
It feels like the Chargers-Raiders game from a few years ago. Give me the Bills when they dropped 60 on them.
That's exactly how it feels. It's not late enough the year to have that total feeling, but that's how it feels. All right. Let's get into the fantasy draft. Danny, you have the first pick. Who you got?
Tough decision. I'm joking. Go with the guy that I dominated last week. Believe Neighbors.
Yeah.
Enough said.
I just feel like he's going to be an easy first pick, even though the Giants will not be the best offense a lot of Sundays, because he's going to get his touches. So Malik Neighbors, number 1. Grump, you have the second pick. Who are we going?
This is where it starts to get a little murky because the Chiefs haven't really Patrick Mahomes has been most of the Chiefs offense. If you look at just stats, I'm going to go Travis Kelce because I think he's going to score some touchdowns.
Yeah. Mahomes does have their most scrimmage yards with his rushing yards. So Grump is going to go Travis Kelce. All right. So I'm just going to go for, especially with, coming off of last week, I'm going to go get some PPR value with my first 2 picks and play it a little safe. So I'm going to go number 2 on my big board, Wan'Dale Robinson.
Can't hate.
Again, PPR. And then I'm going to go Hollywood Brown. He's been their leading receiver. So, I mean, it's pretty simple for me. Both teams leaders in receptions. How about that? Wan'Dale Robinson and Hollywood Brown back to back. It will be interesting to see who they put on Hollywood. Is it Cordell Flott or Paulson Adebo? Grump, you have your second pick.
I'm going to take a swing on Xavier Worthy.
He was 6th on my big board. You're taking him 5th, but pairing him with Kelce, it's like somebody other than Hollywood Brown's gonna have to get some yards. So I like taking the duo of him and Kelce together.
I'm kind of just counting on us to screw something up.
Oh, thanks, Trump. Danny, also that reminds me, because this segment is always about this is a shit talking second half of the preview. And every year it's like, Bobby really doesn't like these guys. It's like, no, that's just the second half of the preview. Anyways, Danny, take your next 2 horrible picks.
Yeah, let's see how I screwed up this week. I had the choice of Pickens and Williams last week, and I went with Pickens. Actually, I don't know how I did last week. I was so lost on the
Pickens did really good.
He did do good. I don't know why I thought he didn't.
I thought Trump had Pickens.
Did he?
We all had good games last week. It was probably the highest in game.
That was Danny.
I was just mad that I saw the leaderboard this week and I was the worst. So all right, so now it gets fun. Well, first I'm gonna take the Chiefs. I'm gonna take Pacheco.
Rutgers.
Now, is this going to be considered a risk? I don't think so, based on how it looked last week.
I know, but it's still a risk. I know what you're gonna say.
I'm gonna take a Giants running back, but I'm not taking Tyrone Tracy like I did last week. I'm gonna take Cam Scatterboo.
I mean, he's next on my big board. I think it's until the Giants
dumb at all, man. No.
Until the Giants put 2 games together of a running back leading the carry, it's hard to guess. But Scatterboo did get it last week. So, all right, Grump, your third pick.
It's really close for me. I'm gonna go Theo Johnson.
Wow.
He was decent last week, if I remember, fantasy-wise. I could be.
I think he had 4 for 35 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, 7.5 points.
Yes, 7 points. Can't go.
Oh, by the way, that I had the second highest scoring output of all time. My number 4 guy didn't score a single point in Daniel Bellinger. If I would have taken Miles Sanders
that's
with my
so
other
crazy.
thing, I would
That's so
might have had
crazy.
100 points.
I might just ruin my day hearing that.
So I have my final 2 picks. So I'm gonna go Darius Slayton as 1. And so I've basically went like 3 the other team, 1 of the Giants every week, and that 1 being Malik Neighbors. But I'm going opposite this week. I'm gonna take Tyrone Tracy. I'm gonna take a chance that maybe he's the lead back. Regardless, they do like to dump the ball down to him, so I'm gonna go Slayton and Tracy with my final 2 picks. Grump, your final pick.
Picking Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh golly.
Juju.
Oh golly.
You know what would be fun to look at, which I'm not gonna do. This would be who is the highest, like the rankings of non-Giants all time. No, I'm not gonna do that. I was gonna go and listen to go get every single fantasy segment and just do the all-time points, but that would be a lot of work for nothing. Because only I would care. Danny, the final pick of the draft.
Yeah. Wow. What a time for me to be alive. I guess, I mean, since he's there, I'm looking at his stats right now. He had 8 carries for 31 yards last week.
This is the correct pick.
Going Hunt?
Yeah, I'm going Hunt. Going Hunt. And then I am truly at a loss for who I go next year.
Well, Danny, you don't go anywhere next because that was the pick of the draft.
Oh, sorry. I was really sweated the Hunter Forden for the Chiefs. So my apologies.
Tyquan Thornton was still there. Is that what
Oh, yeah, I know. I just didn't know if I should like take a swing on him or just kind of go safe with Hunt.
Yeah. I only put together a 13-man big board this week. I did not put Juju on there. I guess it was a 12-man big board, and then Thornton goes undrafted. All right. So to recap, myself in first place, Wan'Dale Robinson, Hollywood Brown, Darius Slayton, and Tyrone Tracy. Grump in second, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Theo Johnson, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Danny in last, Malik Neighbors, Isaiah Pacheco, Cam Scatterbo, and Kareem Hunt. He's counting on big rushing days from the 2 worst rushing teams in the NFL. All right, Giant Factors, where we pick our X Factor for the game. Danny King, you are up first.
I don't know if this is a lame pick, but I mean, it's Sunday Night Football, prime time. The world's watching. You know, I would kind of like to see. It's only week 3 of his NFL career. I don't want to put too much pressure on the guy, but I am because we got to win. I'm just gonna go Abdul Carter. I can't think of a better week to go out there and just have a game. Sunday Night Football. Everyone's watching. Everyone's gonna be the talk of the town. Go out there and make your mark this week. That you're here to stay. He 1 sack. I give you another sack. Let's run defense. I would say the defensive line in general, because I would like to, have a solid run game, and then we could back it up with some solid secondary play. My other choice is Paulson and Debo, but that's whatever. Abdul Carter, have a game. Sunday Night Football, make your mark. It's your time.
Grump, your week 3 Giant Factor.
I went to think a little bit outside the box for this one, and I think that if the Giants are going to have any chance in slowing down this offense, whether it's covering guys or keeping Patrick Mahomes from running, for 250 yards, something's going to have to be done in the middle of the field. And the Giants are hurt at linebacker, so I think it's a foregone conclusion that there's going to be a lot of snaps for Dane Belton. And Dane Belton is one of those guys who's just like fairly reliable to just be a decent guy in the backfield. He's not going to get super burned, but he's not super great either. He needs to be good in this game. And whether that means tackling Patrick Mahomes when he decides to scramble, or if it means covering Travis Kelce, you need to be on your A game. Everybody needs to step up who's playing in that middle of the field to help Bobby Okereke, and guard the middle of the field. And everybody who's in coverage is probably going to end up having to be a man coverage. Be physical, put people on their ass, fight for the ball. Dane Belton, you got to step up because we are out of linebackers. So first guy off the bench in the defensive backfield is probably going to be that guy. I assume it's going to be Dane Belton. Go have a game.
Justina Anderson. It's a typo, but it's funny because Ed Oliver has a chain. She said Ed Oliver casual on the sideline with $900 million around his neck.
I had to explain to work this week why I'm blocked by Josina Anderson.
Why are you blocked by Justina Anderson?
She did an interview with someone, and then I said, really good interview, Josina. I think what would have made it better is if you had a rapper randomly sitting next to the player that provides nothing.
See, I don't say anything actually every once in a while because I don't want to get blocked by her because her tweets are my favorite in the world.
Thankfully, they have the feature now where you can still view tweets, but I really got to go dig it for her.
Dude, all right, so I'm gonna see. So I'm gonna look for it because she DM'd the Giants Nation show account one time. We talked about it on the show.
Wait, did she really?
Yeah, we talked about it on the show. I remember. Let me see if it might have been the Talking Giants account. Damn it. Oh, you know what? It was Mark. It was when I think it was Marquand Manuel. It's like he's the defensive pass game coordinator, and I was like, according to she's like, that's not what I said, and it was like literally what she said, and I was like, what did I say differently? And she just didn't respond. Anyways,
Love that.
My giant factor. I thought Grump was going to steal mine. It's prime time, and you're a position that primetime games are how people remember you, right? We as a team, we're going to remember every single week, but it's a position that you can't really look at the stats and tell how good you are. Patrick Mahomes has rushed for a lot of yards this year. They throw a lot of quick game. We're going to need a linebacker to step up and make plays, not just play, but actually make plays. Bobby Okereke. I remember your Sunday Night Football game against the Bills a couple years ago, right? That was you're probably your best game in the NFL. Well, you've got another Sunday Night Football game against a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Make plays on the football. You know where that ball is going to be coming out. You know it's going to be coming out quick, and you know that quarterback's going to be running for yards, and that's going to be your responsibility. Bobby Okereke, be a playmaker, because if it's 3 weeks of this, then we're just talking about a bad player at middle linebacker for the New York Giants. So Bobby Okereke, go out and be a giant factor. All right, it's time for spread picks. Danny King, hot. 12-4 after another 6-2 week. Grump went 5-3 as well, so he's 10-6. I went 5-3 as well. I'm at 7-9. Hopefully 8-9 by the time people are listening to this. And the listeners, 3-5, 6-10, last place.
Could it be me?
A little sad, listeners, but maybe you guys can turn it around. All right, so we already did Thursday Night Football. Rams at Eagles -3.5. The listeners, represented by Nick Clemens, are going Rams +3.5. I'm agreeing with them. This is the third time these teams have played in less than a year. The Rams got to get one. They got to get one. I like their defense coordinator, Chris Shula. So I'm going to go Rams +3.5. They at least keep it to a field goal. Danny, who you got in this one?
I will say we're off to a bad start in this Bills game already.
I know. But it's one drive.
No, yeah, one drive. Don't worry. Man, this one, I was really thinking about this one because I feel like the tush push this week, extra eyes are going to be on it. Extra eyes are going to be looking for that false starts by the Eagles, which they do all the time. Ban the play now. I'm back on that. I'm going to, unfortunately, stick with the Eagles getting it done once again. I don't see the Eagles losing for Eagles. I'm not gonna go more.
I wanted to go Rams on this one, but Steve Avila didn't practice again today. I'm having a hard time picturing the Rams holding up against that defensive interior. I'm going Eagles.
I hate the tush push so much, Danny. Like
I was so for it. Not for it. I didn't want to ban it because I was like, they're good at it. But after last week, I'm like, those.
It's a stupid play, and it used to be illegal. It used to be illegal to push the player forward like that, and they made it unillegal for like plays down the field.
Right.
And then like because you remember Danny doesn't remember this, but remember the Matt Leinart Reggie Bush versus Notre Dame game when Reggie Bush pushed Matt Leinart in, and people on TV like that's illegal, like that, and then like it used to be an illegal play.
But also, like, it doesn't jive with the whole player safety narrative because they legalized the play where you have like a 350-pound lineman just sprinting downfield and crashing into the pile.
It's
like
stupid. And Jason Kelsey I thought I should be good at really football. And then pushing each other. It's like, you know what? How about you line up and go make it fourth down and third and short actually entertaining, and have to run a real play.
Well, you're just a mouthpiece.
All right, Daniel Jones. That's the Titans and Cam Ward. The Colts are -4.5, Titans +4.5. Grump, who do you got in this one?
I'm sticking with Indianapolis Jones on this one. I think that Tennessee's going to take a while to rebuild.
I agree, but 4.5 is a decent margin. The Titan Cam Ward has looked pretty good. Even the week 1 against the Broncos, his stats were bad, but they did drop a lot of passes throwing dimes. So I'm going to go Titans +4.5, even though I don't have a ton of confidence in that one. The listeners are going Colts. Danny, who do you got?
I mean, Daniel Jones is number 2 in pass in the NFL right now. Behind Russell Wilson.
Yeah, number 1. I only look at my guys, and my guy's number 1. I don't need to look any further now.
But yeah, I until I see the Colts are frauds, I'm gonna keep riding Indiana Jones. Fire nickname, by the way. It's a fire nickname.
You got to go with the Trailer Park Boys reference, the Indianapolis Jones.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that was a Trailer Park Boys reference. I didn't know that one. Hand up.
Do you look like Indianapolis Jones?
Yeah,
Hand up on me.
because they, always said things wrong.
Right.
Steelers at Patriots +1.5. Patriots coming off a win. Steelers coming off a loss. Danny, who do you got?
God, I love me a slop fest. That's what this game screams to me. A slop fest. I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one. The Patriots played the Dolphins. I feel like it's not hard to beat the Dolphins.
No, I think the Patriots have looked a little ugly. I agree with you. I know the Steelers let me down last week. I'm going Steelers. Grump, who do you got?
Make it a sweep. I'm going Steelers.
Well, it's not a sweep because the listeners are going to go with the Patriots.
Wow.
All right. Well, this is the first backup QB bowl of the year. We got Jake Browning's Bengals at Carson Wentz Vikings -3. I have no idea who to pit on this one. The listeners are going Vikings -3. And I'm just going Vikings -3 for why not, just continue my my JJ McCarthy agenda. So Vikings -3. Grump, who do you got?
I'm going to go Bengals. It's just, this game sucks, but Minnesota's even more hurt than Cincinnati. I understand that, Joe Burrow's out, but you still have Jamar Chase. You still have weapons there. Minnesota's hurt all over. I think Harrison Smith is hurt.
It just sucks you get Justin Jefferson versus Jamar Chase, and then it's like, yep, well, we have Pookie at their quarterback. Danny, who do you got?
I'm putting on my conspiracy theory hat. Is JJ McCarthy actually hurt, or is this a strategic hurt?
Dude, the NFC North fans are a different animal. Eagles fans are just flat out dumb. NFC North fans are very conspiracy theory, and the Lions have just got a little bit of success, and they're like, why did Ben Johnson leave? What a piece of shit.
No, literally.
All right.
Weird thing.
So who do you got?
Well, first off, I'm really annoyed that I now have to watch. I'm traveling to Dublin, Ireland, to watch Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz. I am sick to my stomach, but I'll be taking the Vikings here.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
I just don't care to see Carson Wentz.
Broncos at Chargers -2.5. I'm a huge Chargers fan. I'm going Chargers -2.5. The listeners agree. Danny, do you agree?
I want to take the Broncos, but I mean, Chargers are looking good. I need to see more from Bo Nix still. I one good week, but I'll go Chargers.
I would like Bo Nix more than most people, but if Bo Nix, Penix, and McCarthy end up being bad, I'm going to go on the biggest victory lap of all time. Grump, who do you got?
The Chargers feel hot right now. I'm sticking with the Chargers.
Go Chargers. We got Cowboys at Bears +1.5. Who do you have in this one, Grump?
I'm gonna go Bears, believe it or not. I think, I don't know. After watching that Dallas defense last week, I don't understand why anyone wouldn't just keep running down the field.
Matt Eberflus revenge game. Counterpoint.
Wow.
Matt Eberflus knows Caleb Williams.
Who's really getting revenge? Eberflus getting revenge on Chicago for firing, or Chicago for just having to see him again?
Yeah. There's a lot of bad blood in this one. So, but I'm going to go Cowboys. I think Eberflus gets his revenge, and I like Dak in that offense versus the Bears. Listeners going with Grump. Danny, who are you going with?
Yeah, I just the Cowboys looked bad last week, but I haven't seen it from the Bears to make me think they could take advantage of that. So I'm gonna have to rock the Cowboys.
All right. Final game. We got Monday Night Football, Lions at Ravens -4.5. Listeners are going Ravens. Grump, who do you got?
I am also going Ravens. That is so Raven.
Just kidding. The show. Danny, who do you got?
I'm gonna rock with the Lions. I think they're gonna keep up the good vibes.
The Ravens killed the Lions a couple years ago. The Ravens are like the one great team, like top of the NFL team that will blow out like the other opponents. So I'm gonna go Ravens -4.5. Lions got to show me against a good team in their new iteration that they can be just as good. So, all right, score predictions: Sunday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs at New York Giants. Danny King, what do you got?
So week 1, I said they would score 30. They didn't score a touchdown. Last week, I said they might not score a touchdown. They dropped 37 on them. So it's kind of like a week 1 type vibe. It's the home opener. So I'm kind of excited, but I'm also prepared for the worst. But with that in mind, the Giants, by the grace of God, are going to send the Kansas City Chiefs to 0-3 for what I don't know last night. What's the last night? What do you know? What the last night started 0-3? I don't know. I should look that up. Doesn't matter. Giants 24, no 27. Kansas City Chiefs 20.
Grump, what do you got?
I hate this matchup for the Giants. I don't like the nonstop Spagnuolo blitz against Russell Wilson and this offensive line that can't get their shit straight. I don't like this defense at the end of halves and regulation and, just leaving stuff open when Patrick Mahomes is smart enough to take whatever it is you give him. So, even if they play tight man coverage, I could see him slipping out and running for 15 yards. I have Kansas City 24, Giants 16.
The Giants are 7-0 against the Kansas City Chiefs at home. And guess what? The Giants are at home. And there's going to be a lot of 7 versus 0. And guess what? How many points were scored last week? 77. It's going to happen again. The numbers, they just are all pointing towards one thing, and that is Giants 77, Chiefs 0. The primetime losses are done. They're over. We're back to winning on primetime and us getting put back on there because they want us there. Giants 77, Chiefs 0. We'll see you guys Monday morning for a recap episode. Hopefully it's a win. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.